Thinking about going vegan, but you don't know where to start? I am Lalo, a New York-based private chef, and here I teach you how to make vegan food delicious and healthy every single time. And today is no exception. I'm gonna show you 3 base recipes that I wish I knew back then. And because these recipes could have made my life way easier. They are simple to make, they are versatile, and they're gonna help you a ton in your everyday while you get your feet wet into vegan cooking. We're making 1 breakfast, 1 lunch, and 1 dinner. And you can use ingredients that you already have at home for these recipes. So let's get started. So let's start with the breakfast. We're gonna make a hot porridge with several grains. The best thing about this porridge is that you can do it with whatever you have at home. So if you are gluten-free, you can use oats, but in this one, I'm using a multi-grain cereal, a store-bought. At the beginning, I recommend you, if you don't wanna get into the hustle of, oh, how do I mix it? How do I, do the mix of the cereals? What cereals? Just buy one done. Just buy one that is organic, quality ingredients, that's it. And then use it for this recipe. Or simply just use oats. We're gonna use chocolate, ginger, and cinnamon because it's an amazing combination. But you can add or switch or take away any spice that you want. Even just make it with a little bit of a vanilla flavor. So let's get started. So let's start with the ingredients. We have cinnamon, ginger, and also a pinch of salt. That is optional. So for the flavors, we're gonna make a chocolate flavor pudding. You can use cocoa powder, or you can use the chocolate chips or dark chocolate, the whole bar. Anything that you want, that's great. We also have here, this is the grains. These are soaked, and as you can see, this is better for the phytic acid. We have vanilla, and we have some maple syrup. And we're gonna cook all of this with water. For the toppings, we can use cacao nibs, we can use some dry berries, dry fruit. These are mulberries, you can use this, and some homemade granola. You can make your own or just buy it. Also, I love bananas, that's why I'm gonna use this, but you can use any fruit you want. You buy your multi-cereal grain and you soaked it, make sure you rinse it properly. And if you didn't, just add all the ingredients into the pot. We're gonna mix them properly and we're gonna cook them on medium flame for about 8 to 10 minutes. You're gonna start seeing how the texture starts changing around the minute 8. And then you will decide if you want it like thin or thicker, like what's the consistency that you like. I like it a little bit runny, not too dry, because it's still, if I add granola or something else, it's gonna make it drier, but that's up to you. Okay, so now that we have the consistency that we like, now we're going to add our toppings. I choose banana because I love banana with chocolate, but you can use any other fruit. There is also cacao nibs, I have some mulberries, and I have some granola, homemade granola that I made. You can add other nuts if you want, or just other dry fruits. It's up to you. This is kind of like an example. Lastly, make sure that if you are going to use plant-based milk in the porridge instead of water, I would recommend not to add any other nuts because it's just a lot of fat. But at the end, it's just a suggestion, and then you can do as you like. Oh my god, it just smells so good. It's the chocolate with the ginger and the cinnamon. It's heaven. So for lunch, we're gonna make one of my favorite plates, and it's basically tofu scramble. What it is tofu mixed with vegetables, whatever is seasonal or whatever vegetables are your favorite, or even better, whatever you have in your fridge. In this case, I'm gonna use like basic stuff like some bell peppers, some carrots, some onion, and some spices. Turmeric is really good, not only just for flavor, but also for digestion, right? So we also wanna, always eat something that is good to us, not just only eating by eating. And it has a lot of protein because it's made with tofu. You can pair it with some beans on the side, or some tortillas, or some bread, whatever it is, but you can also eat it just by itself, and it's gonna be a very, very filling plate. Super delicious, to the point, so let's get it started. Okay, so we're gonna grate some carrots. This purple carrot is so beautiful. We're also going to chop the onion, we're gonna chop some garlic, we're gonna use some turmeric, and we're going to open our tofu. Usually tofu comes in water, so make sure you remove the water and put the tofu on top of a paper towel. So let's get cooking. In a warm pan, add olive oil, then we're gonna add the peppers and the grated carrots, and we're gonna leave it there for about 4 minutes or until they start caramelizing. We're gonna cook it on about like medium high flame, whatever you think is best for the pan, but just make sure it doesn't burn, like be aware. After you see the caramelization in the pan, you're gonna see, like, look at this, you see the little color that we can see here. Now let's add the onions, the garlic, the chili flakes, the turmeric, black pepper, and we're gonna cook for 2 minutes. The reason we're adding this now is so it doesn't get burned before. That's why we added the ingredients are bigger and larger at the beginning. Okay, so now 2 minutes has passed. We're seasoning with a little bit of salt. We season every step of the way, so we make sure that at the end of the dish, it's always seasoned. Well, now that it's been 2 minutes and everything is incorporated, everything is kind of like seasoned together, we're gonna take everything out into a plate. Now we're gonna add 1 more tablespoon of olive oil inside the pan and then crumble the tofu with your hands. Just use your hands, crumble the tofu, it's gonna be okay. Just rinse them afterwards. Now we're gonna season with some salt and we're gonna cook for 3 minutes. You wanna see a little bit of color in it. If you don't see the color because the flame is too low, that's okay. That's okay, we just wanna cook a little bit the tofu before we add the rest of the other ingredients. So now that 3 minutes has passed, you can see a little bit of color in the tofu. That's the perfect consistency that we want. Also some water already evaporate from it. Now let's add back the carrots and all the tomatoes that we have. So now what we want is to cook the tomatoes down. We want the water of the tomatoes be released and then mix with everything, the carrots, the spices, the peppers, and just create all these symphony of flavors with the tofu. This is gonna take around 5 to 7 minutes or until the tomatoes have released all their water. Now, let's cover it and leave it there. You don't have to touch it on low medium flame for 5 to 7 minutes. Perfect, 7 minutes has passed. And look, now we can see all the condensation of water here. Look, let's stir it. Can you see how some is still sticking to the pan? Just mix it around and with the water of the tomatoes, we can remove all that flavor that is in the pan. Also, you can see that the tomatoes are all breaked out. Can you see? Perfect, that's what we want. Now, let's taste and let's season if you need to. Okay, so now as a last step, we're going to add some cilantro stems. You can see that these stems are harder than the leaves, and that's why we're adding them, because they add so much flavor. And the leaves, we're gonna use them to put them on the top and just add more freshness. And in every bite that you get, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is so delicious. How are you gonna eat this tofu? You can complement this tofu on top of like toasted bread, like some sourdough, some multigrain bread to add extra protein and fiber, or you can make your own tortillas. I happen to have a little bit of blue corn masa, so check out this. I'm gonna make 1 tortilla for this. So first I press it. Now we're gonna put it in the pan and look at that. Can you see how now it's inflating? My goodness, so good. I'm gonna put it now in the burner a little bit, and now that it's super warm, I'm gonna put in there my tofu, and my goodness, just enjoy it. How can you enjoy your tofu? You can add some spicy sauce, or you can add some avocado on top, or just eat it plainly because it is delicious the way it is already. Just fold it, and then enjoy. So good. And for dinner, I have a very one dish that you're gonna love. It's basically a one-pot dish made out of chickpeas. In this case, we're gonna add some mushrooms, some onions, some garlic, and some broccoli. It's very simple to make. The reason being is because we're gonna use canned chickpeas. Good quality canned chickpeas. Why? Because at the beginning, I know a lot of people, I don't usually recommend using canned stuff because you can cook it yourself. It's very easy. But at the beginning, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Because it's very easy to be like, do I need to soak the legumes? Do I need to cook them? I don't have a pressure cooker. They get hard and all of these stories, right? So at the beginning, I want you just to buy good quality of legumes and then just cook them. Super simple. Cook some, chop some ingredients. In this case, I'm gonna use these vegetables that I mentioned, but you can add something else. Then add some spices. You can substitute it with some coconut milk or just tomato based, or even some white wine. So the possibilities are endless. That's why this is a very good dish for dinner and something that you want to have in your repertoire for the future. Let's start by quartering the cremini mushrooms. Then we're gonna slice the red onions super thinly, as thinly as you can. We're gonna also slice the garlic, and we're gonna chop finely the ginger. We're gonna use whole cherry tomatoes. For the spices, we're gonna use cumin, coriander, cinnamon, and oregano. We're gonna use canned chickpeas, so make sure you rinse them properly. Then set them aside. We're gonna use chopped parsley, chop it finely, and we're gonna use the whole leaves or the tare leaves of basil. Okay, so let's get it with the instructions. We're gonna put in a pot a little bit of the coconut oil on medium flame, and we're gonna first sear the mushrooms. We want that color because that color is flavor. So in 1 minute on that temperature, it's gonna get like beautiful golden brown color. After that, we're gonna add the onions, ginger, garlic, and all the aroma is gonna start coming out. We're gonna cook for 2 minutes until you can see the onions are getting translucent and the ginger is cooked, the aromas are released. Okay, now we're gonna add the spices, the tomatoes, and the chickpeas, and we're gonna cook for an extra 2 minutes, just to incorporate all the flavors into the chickpeas, the onions, and everything all around. After we have done that, we're going to add the coconut milk, and we're gonna bring it into a boil. We're gonna bring it to a boil for about 4 minutes. Add the chopped parsley. We're gonna add half of it. It's a big bunch, but it's gonna add to release all the oil from the parsley, and it's gonna be super delicious. Okay, so now let's cover it and let it cook for 4 minutes. Now that 4 minutes have passed, you're gonna check. You're gonna see if it's cooked. You're gonna see the coconut oil is already reduced and everything is a little bit thickened. Taste it, season always with salt and pepper. And we're also going to add a little bit of the juice of the lemon and the zest of the lemon. Mix everything all together properly. Yes, keep mixing and just smell the aroma. The coconut, the ginger, the garlic, it smells so good. Oh my God, I just wanna try this already. Okay, so now let's add the rest of the parsley that we have. Mix it in. Yes, now that's gonna add a lot of freshness into the dish. And we're gonna finish with some basil, fresh basil for just flavor, because this is gonna add so much freshness into the dish and it's gonna be so good. And now it's time to serve. It's okay. In a bowl, I'm gonna use some brown rice, but you can use some quinoa or another grain that you like, or even white rice if that's your preference. And now on the side, let's put some of this delicious mix. Make sure you add a little bit of the creamy sauce, because this one is gonna make so good with the rice. And now to top it, we're gonna use some sprouted almonds. You can just add like toasted almonds if you don't have sprouted. It's not required. We just want a little bit of crunchiness. Just smell it. So good. So let's try this dinner. I know you wanna try it. I know you want me to try it. And this is my favorite part, because I get to try something and tell you how it tastes. So you fall in love and then you go and make it home. So let's try it. gonna get a little bit of brown rice, a little bit. Make sure you get a little bit of tomatoes, a little bit of mushrooms, and let's go. And it's so good. I really love it. The reason I love it the most is because I believe it's very well balanced. You have kind of like, it's a creamy dish, even though there is rice. You have the coconut milk there, the sauce, you have the spices, you have the fattiness from the coconut, but also the flavor of all the spices in there, the chewiness of the mushrooms and the tomatoes, the acidity of the tomatoes and the lemon juice that we squeeze at the end. And then just to top it, the herb flavors from the basil and the parsley. So I think this is a really well balanced dish, and it has almost everything that you need. You know, you have whole grain, that is brown rice, and then you have protein as forming chickpeas. You have a few vegetables here and there, lots of flavor, lots of spice. I think this is my go-to for dinner. You know, definitely is gonna be filling and just so very easy to make. Ingredients, you almost have them. You can replace some of them if you don't have. You can add peppers, some tomatoes, some carrots, even some celery, you know, and some spices even that you like. So for me, this is a dish that can be modified in other ways. And I wish I knew this, you know, when I started, have like a base recipe and then someone else just tell me, add this coconut or something else. I hope really you liked it. Make it and let me know your thoughts. Well, we did it and I'm so happy for it because I really think you're gonna benefit a lot from these 3 dishes. The reason I made these 3 dishes is because they're full of nutrients, they have lots of vegetables in it, and they're very easy to make. And the most important part is that they are delicious. You know, when you transition from eating meat to not eating meat, sometimes it's difficult because you are like, but is it even good? You know, and then your family, your friends is like, I don't know, but what do you eat, blah, blah, blah. And that happened to me. And I was like, I need to make it good, right? Because I like to eat good food, right? I'm a chef, so I was like, I need to make it taste good. But it took time for me to refine, to learn about ingredients, how to substitute them and all of that. So I basically put it right now just in your hands and say, look, just try this, and try this, and then tweak them to your preferences. You know, if you like spicy, add spicy for sure, you know, like, and if you like a little bit of more creamy sauce, add a little bit more coconut milk, you know, or you cannot have coconut, no, don't worry, add like almond milk. All of these things, you know, you can tweak the vegetables, you can tweak the spices. These are the base dishes for you to create your own. So, say that if you like this video, that I put a lot of love into it, me and my team, please like it and also subscribe. And share it with your family and your friends, even though they are not vegan or they are not trying to be. Just because if they see it, maybe they are like, oh, that looks good, and they might try it. Or you may be cooked for them, right? And then they're gonna be like, oh, this is actually not bad. And then when they do that, then maybe we can change the world together. Because remember, also eating is a way of choosing what do we want in the world. You know, if we want more compassion, we want to, you know, take care of the planet Earth and also of our bodies. And we can make all of that happen at the same time, but one step at a time. So the next step is like the video, subscribe it if you want to see more of this. And also you help me out a lot because I know what people want if you want more of these videos. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time, and don't forget that you are amazing. Take care.